Hey everyone, welcome to GameFace, episode unlucky 13, Marcus, but I refuse to believe that this will be anything but a sterling episode of GameFace.
Well, considering the shenanigans that were happening here in this office, not 2 minutes before the actual, we've gone live, hopefully that's all our bad luck for today.
Yeah, we had tons of issues today getting ready for the show. In fact, we started streaming, or we thought, and realized we had no internet connection on the TriCaster, and that was a mad 2-minute dash to get that done. But we are here, and we are ready to rock. E3 just 10 days away, Marcus. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can believe it?
I can, because I have a calendar,
yeah.
And the calendar says today's date, and 10 days from today's date is E3.
I think what it is that when you're just really busy working on something, the time just like whips on by, and so...
I've been busy playing Marvel Heroes, thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, I've just been crazy busy, so you don't have time to stop and think, oh, today's Wednesday or Thursday. Like, my wife comes home from work, and she, says, what day is it? I'm like, I really have no idea. It's just another day in paradise for me. So, thanks for tuning in to GameFace today. Monday is a big day for Sifted, because Monday is the day that the free 2 weeks ends. So, all the people who have been on free trials all this time, it's decision time. You guys have to make a decision on whether you're going to subscribe or not. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. The conversations on Sifted have been amazing. The interaction with our users has really picked up over the last 4 or 5 days. Some of our stories are getting big numbers. Then the comments on last week's GameFace, huge, tons of comments on the show. You should definitely pop in there, Marcus, and say hello. There's lots of people in there who would like to chat with you.
No! I have you know, I'm a private person, and I don't like being talked to by anybody. Well, no, I will pop in. Probably. I mean, look, I've been going nuts over Marvel Heroes, because there's so many characters, and I've started unlocking each of them and getting them to about level 30. Yeah. And then starting a new one, and then today Dr. Doom came out, who is my spirit totem, because let's face it, he's an evil genius who has aspirations of world domination. It's basically me in a metal mask. So yes, I do have to take time to pop in and say hello to everybody and say, what's up, yo? Yep.
The episode will be up. We actually, now that we don't have to deal with YouTube, the episodes go up on sifted.net pretty quickly, usually by around midnight tonight. It'll be up for Sifted's users. Also, just wanted to mention for our subscribers, you guys are going to start seeing original content rocking onto Sifted beginning tomorrow. So you'll start seeing some of our original content aside from GameFace going up on the site. Also, you'll start seeing a lot of updates to the website in general. A lot of the suggestions you guys have given us will start coming to fruition over the next couple days. So we're ready to go. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Lots of E3 talk on today's show, but next week really is going to be pretty much an entire E3 episode. We'll still have a couple publishers to go through that we haven't tackled yet. We'll do some E3 predictions, have some fun with it. And maybe you guys should, in the comments for this show on Sifted.net, share some of your E3 predictions, or ask us questions maybe that you want us to answer next week on the show. So I think that's it for all the intro banter. I think it's time to get to the Big Six. So Marcus, I know you're one happy man this week.
Yeah.
One of your favorite franchises pretty much in the entire industry. Not too much surprise, I might add, was announced. Fallout 4. We got the debut trailer for Fallout 4. Being such a huge fan, what's your impressions of the game based upon what we've seen so far?
Fallout-y. Yeah, it's about damn time. I don't know what the Bethesda team have been doing for the last couple of years. I mean, for God's sake, where's the,
It's been a while.
It has been a while since New Vegas, which, was done by Obsidian.
Yeah.
But look, the first thing, I mean, obviously, yes, I'm excited. It's Fallout 4. It's the world that I fell in love with in Fallout 3, because I never played the previous Fallout games. Yeah. Fallout 3 was the one that really popped my post-apocalyptic cherry. But yeah, the trailer ticks all the boxes.
I mean, it really does. There's all kinds of really cool hidden stuff. Like right there, the dog's walking past like that little billboard, right? There's all kinds.
The Mr. Handy box.
Yeah.
So basically somebody, had their Mr. Handy you know, it was brand new and they kept the box away. I mean, and there's been a bunch of videos and little pieces that have hit this in the last couple of days of things you may have missed. And, you know, I've tweeted out a couple. You should go through my Twitter feed and take a look. The thing I like about this, though, is this actually could be in-game footage very, very easily.
No, it's definitely in-game footage. I think the one criticism a lot of people have had is that they aren't blown away by the visuals so far.
Well, Matt and I were having this conversation before we started, and let me address the ones who aren't blown away. Do you remember bitching and moaning about The Witcher, where the trailers didn't look like the final game? Do you remember bitching about Killzone 2 when the E3 reveal didn't look anything like the final game? Well, guess what? Here's a fucking game that has a trailer that looks like it is the actual game.
Yeah.
Don't bitch. Don't moan. Don't turn around and say it's from 2013. It's an evolution of the engine for a start. I mean, the dog looks fantastic. The animation on the characters look fantastic. I mean, it is.
I don't think it looks bad. I don't think anyone thinks it looks bad.
Well, no, it's just I've had a couple of snarky comments when, you know, in response to people, you know, from people this week on Twitter, and it just pissed me off no end. It's like, you fuckers aren't happy, and I'm not talking about the you fuckers watching now and in the chat room, because, you know, we have a pretty mellow, level-headed bunch most of the time. But yeah, this whole, it looks like Fallout 3, it looks like New Vegas. Well, actually, I mean...
Well, shouldn't it look a little bit like its prior games?
Because it's set in that particular... It's not just a universe, it's a world, it's a continent. I mean, you know, it's a time frame. And then the graphic engine has had an overhaul.
Yeah. I mean, it looks better. There's no doubt about it.
It looks great. I mean, it really does look great. It looks, you know, it's like slipping on a comfortable pair of slippers, but it's a new pair because the other ones had holes in them.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people are going to compare the visuals in this game to The Witcher because it's an easy comparison. It's an action RPG. It's open world, sprawling environments, big draw distance.
Let's compare the PC versions to the PC versions when they ship. Let's compare them side to side, and I guarantee you both will be absolutely fucking beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I mean, it is getting ridiculous the amount of people who will just bitch and moan over, you know, one thing and then flip their own script and just go 180. So let's talk about, you know, it's set in Boston.
Yeah.
Which was obviously leaked a year ago by a disreputable, shitty website who specializes in receiving stolen papers. Yes, I'm talking about you, Shitaku. That was obviously leaked. We haven't had many details, but when you look through the trailer and you look at some of the art, first thing that popped into my mind, and you know, one of the things that I always like in RPGs and these big ones is when you've got a permanent base. When you've got somewhere to call your own.
I love it too, having a home place. Yeah.
And in Fallout, you know, in New Vegas and in Fallout 3, you did have, you know, you could get a house in Nuketown, and you could get a suite at the hotel as a reward. But I'm hoping that this, you know, garage that you actually see with the power suit and, you know, the dog sitting there, and you got all the Nuka-Cola bottles, and you got a little Pip-Boy character. I'm hoping this indicates that you actually have a permanent base this time, that you can basically, you can look after, you can set up defenses, you can customize, you can upgrade. It's your own particular patch. I was looking away because we were just watching that one particular section, which was awesome. And I think that, to me, I mean, they tried it a little bit in Skyrim, but I would love to see that you can have this base where you can really go bananas. Obviously, you know, the big rumor is now that the player can talk.
Yeah. Well, he does talk in a trailer.
He does say something to the dog. I'm not as fussed over that as perhaps a lot of people. I mean,
do you want him to talk, or do you not want him to talk?
I don't really mind. I mean, look, the beauty for me was when I was giving my responses in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, it was my voice I was hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can turn the voice off.
Yeah.
If it's there. I mean, that's the beauty for a lot of RPGs. The less immersive ones are the ones where you are playing a predefined character. For me, I would much rather create my own character. And again, one of the reasons I fell in love with Skyrim and Fallout was that you went through the tests and you went, you know, you take care of your perks and you control what you look like and, you know, characteristics and that to me is the true epitome of what, you know, RPGs should be and you know, and hopefully will always be. So yeah, I'm not fussed about that. I mean, obviously then there were some Weisenheimers who wanted to go and play as the dog.
Yeah.
Co-op. Yeah, dog co-op. I'm glad the dog's back. I mean, the dog was a great character once you found him, and
dog meat.
But again, you have the dog, and you can have him, stay at your at your base, and he can take care of things. You can find some Mr. Handies, and you can give him some guns, and you have them patrol the perimeter, and then obviously you get into Boston. You see, we've got Vault. Was it 111 this time? That's the new Vault number. I'm looking forward to listening to Matt Frary, who is a good friend of ours and sometimes watches. He's from Boston. Listening to his annoying Bostonian accent type thing.
It's better than listening to his Patriots garbage.
Yeah, yeah. Pack the cat in the car pack. No, I've got nothing but love for the Boston crew. Sure. There's some good people out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a more East Coast vibe again. We went to New Vegas. Now we're back on the East Coast after Washington in Fallout 3. So yeah, I'm happy, and I've got this sneaky feeling that we will see it this fall.
Well, I mean, it's all over retailer websites. It's coming out. I mean, you can't really control stuff anymore. It's almost impossible. Like the Uncharted thing, Uncharted remasters of the first 3 games were announced today, and that actually broke last night because a retailer accidentally put the box art up, or there's so much planning that's involved with launching a game now that it's almost impossible to keep things a secret.
Which is why I don't do PR anymore, because it's an absolute nightmare. Because these retailer accidents, it's some smegpot.
Some of them probably aren't.
You want them to make a name for themselves.
It's some kid who has control over that, who's just like, this is all I have control over. I'm going to totally bust this out.
I'm guessing it's like, look at that. Now people are all going to link to our site, and we'll traffic and blah blah blah, and we'll screw over a particular company. But yeah, I think it's coming this year. I think we'll see it October, maybe as late as November, but I'm thinking October. And if we
it makes sense. This could have been in development for the last forever. Who knows how long it's been
like I said,
worked on.
Obsidian did New Vegas,
right?
And once that was polished and fixed, turned out to be an absolute stonking, fantastic game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't get it this year. I hope that Bethesda announce it on the 14th. I mean, we're going to go to Bethesda and we will sit and watch, and whoever's sitting next to me might get covered in emissions.
Well, that's probably going to be me, so
I'm not sitting next to you. I'm sitting next to Matt. But yes, I can't wait. It's actually the first title this year that I'm genuinely bona fide really happy that is coming.
Jacked up.
Yeah.
What about some things that they could add, like online functionality in some way? Or how would you feel about like a online co-op where we could play together?
I think if it's an option and it's not forced on you, drop in, drop out co-op, not necessarily a bad thing. Being able to sort of like visit other people's games and check out
their homes.
Yeah. We had the discussion, again before we went on air. How cool would it be if you could take over a vault?
Yeah.
And that would be your vault, and you could do whatever you want with it. And as long as it's not too forced, and it's not something that you have to sign into.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than having some random idiot drop in. I mean, as long as they've got the settings in there, say that your friends list are the only ones who could jump in, that would work.
Because there's something to be said for the solitude of these games, like The Witcher, for example. Like, I don't know if I would want to play The Witcher with other people. Like, there's certain games that I like to play by myself on the couch and not worry about other people or take into consideration the abilities of another character that they do or do not. Look, there's a place for that, and I do enjoy it sometimes, but there's also times where I just want to sit down solo and play a game. So,
the beauty of Fallout is that Fallout could be the game that can actually carry it off nicely. Like I said, where it's drop in, drop out.
Yeah.
You don't want to evolve it into an MMO. It's certainly not an MMO territory. We don't want that. But the fact that you are survivors in this post-apocalyptic world, and you're going to come across other wanderers.
Yeah.
It's entirely feasible that if they're all set within the same timeline, New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, because within say a couple of months or years of each other, it's entirely feasible that you could even run across characters you've met in the previous games.
All right.
That's going to be interesting. If they have some sort of, I doubt they will because of the engine differences. But if they, they had a way to recognize perhaps some of the acts from Fallout 3 and New Vegas, that would be cool. You could somebody gossiping about, how something happened in New Vegas, and
they start tying it all together.
Yeah,
pretty safe to assume VATS is going to return. You think?
Yeah, I got no problem with VATS. I really like it. I mean, it can be a crutch.
Yeah.
Matt again pointed out that all he does is put his fedora and his sniper rifle on and goes VAT-tastic.
Yeah.
I like VATS. I think it does give it a little bit of additional.
Gives it some punch, that's for sure.
It does. It gives you that breathing room because again, in a game like Fallout, the first time I went into 3 and I got rushed by a couple of big ass mutants, I was like, all right, hit the VATS because I needed to pause and take that step back. You can do the run and gun. But the thing that VATS gives you is an element more of control, and I like that, especially in an RPG where you do have to.
It makes
change
it
up
feel
weapons,
more like an RPG,
ammo.
I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a shooter where you're getting XP.
Yeah, no, I'm VATS I want back, perks I want back, the magazines, transportation might come into this one.
Yeah.
We could be looking at maybe some of those cars that are all rusted out. You get to tune one up and drive around, maybe convert it to solar or use one of the robots as a power source.
Yeah.
A bicycle or a motorbike and sidecar for the dog. Obviously, we see
awesome.
We see some guys in power suits taking off in a drop ship. And you actually see from the drop, from inside the dropship. So that, whether that's a cutscene or whether that's actually something that we can expect in the future.
Even if that's a cutscene,
yeah.
Still, there's some significance in that shot in that trailer.
And the thing that does also excite me is not only Fallout 4, but I'm thinking beyond it. Especially when we look at the amount of DLC that we see announced. There haven't been any announcements of DLC yet. I'm sure they will come.
Yeah.
But we see the quality and the price of what the DLC is for most games now. And then my mind goes back to the New Vegas DLC in particular,
right.
which was actually really good quality for the
price.
price.
Yeah.
And the fact is,
there was 3 episodes?
3, yeah, I think it was like 3 for Fallout and 3 for New Vegas. I ended up buying it. I had New Vegas on Xbox.
Did you buy the season pass, Marcus?
No, I actually waited for the PC version and then got the Steam sale version. It was like $6.99 for the entire fucking thing.
Wow.
All patched up, working fantastically. But yeah, I mean, that there will be a commitment to this world beyond the launch, and not in the way of, and I hope it's not going to be in the way of, buying fatalities or buying additional dogs or whatever. I don't think, dog armor. We're not going to go with horse armor. We're not going to go with dog armor or bicycle armor or anything like that. Brahmin armor. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, look, I don't even, if the new features are few and far between, I just want to get back into that world.
It's been so long, and I hope it doesn't take this long again for the next one.
Well, I mean, look, Bethesda's a big publisher.
Yeah.
But they don't have, they're not as big as, say, Ubisoft, where they have studios all around the world. Yeah. They actually go for the quality over quantity, which I'm a big fan of. So, we will have this. Will we have Dishonored 2? Will we have Doom? Well, we know Doom's coming. Is there going to be a new Skyrim, or is it going to be a newer version of the Elder Scrolls?
It's scary to me to think how old I could be by the time the next Fallout comes out, if they stick to this schedule.
Well, at this rate, I'll actually be in my early 50s.
Yeah, that's scary.
But again, I mean, they may find somebody who can actually produce a quality game. Like I said, Obsidian created a great game that was let down by such a horrible engine in New Vegas.
Yeah.
So, if Obsidian...
And lots of bugs. I mean, New Vegas was a disaster when it first launched.
It was. I mean, it was buggy as hell, but once it was patched and working, it's right up there.
Yeah.
It's better than Fallout 3 in a lot of ways. So, maybe Obsidian can get to grips, or are getting to grips with this new engine, and, there won't be some of the glitches before. And I think the other thing, obviously, we all hope for, is that the PlayStation version this time does not suck.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be reversed this time.
Well, I don't know. Look, I think because both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are, as we've said so many times, PCs and boxes.
Yeah.
And the game is designed predominantly on the PC, and it's going fantastic on the PC, and then they dumb it down for the various two console iterations. there shouldn't be an issue this time.
There's really no excuse for that anymore.
Yeah, there's no 37 different cells each doing individual things. So, yes, this has got me excited for the 14th. I don't know how excited I am for the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of June, but on the 14th, it's going to be a good
celebration.
It's going to be a fucking good night. Hope so. All right, so let's continue. I mean, we just did the unofficial Bethesda.
We kind of did because I mean they have
Doom.
Yeah.
We know they have
that
Elder
Brawler. Scrolls Online, which is pretty much ready to go on consoles now, so there's not much to talk about there.
They have that Brawler, the online Brawler for next year. Can't remember the name of the title. Will we see a new Dishonored? Will we see a new
I know a lot of people are asking for that, but I would be really surprised if they make a sequel to Dishonored.
Oh, I think we're going to see a sequel to Dishonored.
Really?
We won't see it this year.
I mean, look, the game was great, and it was very unique. It had its own everything, actually. It had its own kind of twist on gameplay with the blinking and everything. It had its own twist on atmosphere, even though it was kind of steampunk. It still kind of had its own look. It didn't sell that well.
I think it sold well enough.
It sold okay. It didn't tank.
It sold well enough. It was very well received critically.
Yeah.
And I think, that I'd love to see the team get another chance, and I'm sure they will. But yeah, I think, Fallout's going to take up most of the space along with Doom. Then we will see maybe, will we see a Prey 2 trailer? I mean, that game.
Really?
I'm asking, will we? Will we? My money's more on a Dishonored 2 trailer for, something that we'll see more of at next E3.
I think Prey 2's done. I think that one, you can throw some dirt on the grave there.
We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see when Doom comes, when Doom's going to hit. Because if Doom is hitting and Fallout is hitting, that's going to be an interesting...
I'd be really surprised if Bethesda did that.
I think we'll get Fallout, like I said, Fallout, and I'm hoping we're going to get Fallout in November, maybe October.
Doom in the spring.
And then Doom in the spring, and then Dishonored 2 next year, and that's actually a pretty damn corking lineup. Because again, it's...
For 12 months' time, that's pretty impressive for one publisher.
And the great thing is, they are sequels, or, one's a reboot, but we have waited a long time.
Yeah, we have.
And that's what makes... games interesting when we wait and people are taking time over it.
I think you see the hype level for this game is really high. I know the debut trailer on Sifted did a ton of comments. Like the conversation went on all day with people just kind of coming in and sharing like things that they want in the game, things like that you had talked about that they were concerned about by watching the trailer, and it was a great discussion. And so you're right. If this were a yearly release, I mean, for example, anything we put up for Black Ops 3 doesn't get a fraction of what this is getting. So you're absolutely right. Like putting something out every year, it lowers the interest. Or a good way to look at it was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I mean, the interest in that on Sifted was nothing compared to Fallout. So certainly a smart strategy.
Yeah. So let's go on with the next E3 preview. Square Enix, the ones who can't make money out of Tomb Raider, apparently, which was probably one of the best games they've released in the last 5 to 6 years, and was very well received and sold really, really well. But apparently they lost money on it or something, or made like $1, because apparently they don't know how to manage shit. And then they can spend $50, $100 billion, trillion on Final Fantasy Cutscenes Inc., and apparently make a lot of money out of that. So go figure.
I don't know about making a lot of money out of that.
Well, it's funny, you never hear them bitching about Final Fantasy and how much money they fucking pour into that.
That's because what you don't realize is that they are re-releasing tons of Final Fantasy games on mobile.
And the suckers buy it up
and the money
every
just
time.
Comes rushing in. Now they're creating like original Final Fantasy RPGs, like Mobius Final Fantasy is an RPG just for mobile devices. And you watch, it'll probably end up coming to other platforms eventually, but Square's at a place now where it is at least commissioning Final Fantasy games to be made specifically for mobile. So, we see their release schedule maybe seems a little thin at times, but the truth of the matter is that you have to really pay attention to know what's really going on completely with that company.
They actually have 3 titles that on this list that at E3 I do want to see.
Yeah. Well, they have a great lineup. I mean, the graphic on the screen right now says it's loaded, and they are loaded. I mean, they have the potential to have a huge E3 now.
We've got 6 titles on the list. I would happily live without half of that. There's only 3 titles on that list that appeal to me.
Gee, I wonder if I can pick out the ones that you're interested in.
Go nuts. Go on. I dare you.
So the 3 that you don't give a crap about would be Final Fantasy 15, That game is not going to be at E3, but they're saying already it's going to have a huge presence at Gamescom. The other one you don't care about is Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, which I have to give Square Enix credit for that, because that game was pretty much in the toilet. And a lot of times what publishers will do is just pull the plug. And that happened actually with the DC Comics MOBA. Dude, it lasted 2 months and they
seriously, DC or WeB Games, way to waste the Infinite Crisis storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, Batman, they get it right. They can't do fuck all else. It's just like their movies. The Batman movies were great. Superman, Man of Steel, not so much. But yes, pulling that. Look,
2 months it's been live out of like open beta.
And they did a Lord of the Rings MOBA as well. I don't even know if that's still going.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Look, you may want to take a page out of Marvel's book, DC, and look at doing a Diablo-esque Marvel Hero style game, which would be really quite cool. And then the other thing you should do is look at Marvel Unlimited, which is the great comics app, and get your fucking acting gear, because
they're
DC
falling behind.
Oh, they are way behind. I mean, I saw the Man of Steel. Oh, was it Superman versus Batman? Dawn of Justice trailer.
Yeah,
I laughed.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. My point was that look, they pulled the plug on that MOBA after 2 months. Square Enix, instead of pulling the plug, and they gave the initial run of Final Fantasy XIV a great chance. Like, it's not like.
Now this is the MMO, yeah.
Yeah.
I did play this, and I will say, and while it's not a game I would really, I really want to go back and have no interest in, I did play it. I got a press account. Thank you, Mr. Kranzel, before you disappeared. So I got a press account, and I played it for a good month, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah. When was this, by the way?
This was after it was relaunched. This was last year.
So it was the Realm Reborn that you played.
Yeah, this was, and look, it's not a bad game. It's a tidy little game, and I can see
people are loving it now.
I can see why a lot of people are into it.
Game,
fair fucks. I got to give credit where it's due. They did persevere, and a lot of people are really happy with it.
How many publishers go back and completely rework a game like that, and then have it be a huge success?
No, you've got to give credit where credit is due on that one. And a lot of people are happy. I did, like I said, I played it for about a month, 6 weeks, and look. In my MMOs, I think I've been brainwashed by World of Warcraft too much.
Yeah.
That
happens when you play it for thousands of hours.
Well, this is it. We're talking almost 10 years of playing World of Warcraft.
Do you still play it at all?
On occasion. I haven't played the thing since January.
Okay.
But I did.
Every once in a while you'll pop in. Did you play the expansion when it came out?
I played the expansion. It was good. But again, I'm more perhaps set in that mindset. And again, look, for me, Final Fantasy, was it Final Fantasy VIII was perhaps the last one I really, truly enjoyed.
The one after 7?
It was 7 or 8, one of the two.
So for the original PlayStation, that was the last one you enjoyed?
The original PlayStation. And look, I played them on the Super NES. I had them all on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
I bought all the PlayStation ones, however many there were of those. But it just got to be a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
It went in a different direction to perhaps what I'm.
Speaking of different direction,
One Direction.
I like how it says this can't be for real. That's exactly what I said to myself the first time I saw that trailer. I was like, this can't be for real.
Well, remember the first time we saw that trailer, because we went on bonus round and discussed it.
We did, yeah.
And I did say that it looks like One Direction on tour.
Yeah, and it still does.
Yeah.
But they're not showing this game at E3. Is that a huge mistake, Marcus? By the way, they just did like a live stream for this game where they showed off a second tech demo for it. And also, they're doing an episode 2 of the demo that launches next week. So they put out a trailer for that. They put out a new tech demo. So obviously, they have the ability to create media for this game. I just can't understand why they would just basically boycott E3. It's their biggest game. Which also tells you there's no way in hell the game's coming out this year. Which we kind of knew already, but there's no way.
It'd be interesting to see, again, perhaps, they're looking at this perhaps more of a Western audience. Tomb Raider is something that's probably going to do better over here. So perhaps that's where they're putting most of their,
Save it for Tokyo Game Show, like Gamescom.
Gamescom, Gamescom has always traditionally, or Europe has always had a strong PlayStation presence, which has always bled into Final Fantasy.
It's also a big consumer show. It's not just press. Although we'll get to that later.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
About E3.
But let's look.
Now, the other game you don't give a crap about is Star Ocean 5.
Yeah.
You definitely do not care about that.
Not my cup of tea. I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm sure they will keep a lot of people very happy, and more power to you, as usual. But my three are Deus Ex, because I thought the last one, while flawed, was very, very exciting. Just Cause 3, because I came late to the Just Cause franchise. I bought 2 again on a Steam sale and played it on PC, and it's just fucking batshit.
Yeah.
It is £10 a batshit in a £5 bag.
It definitely is. And this one looks even crazier, if that's possible.
This looks absolutely friggin' Looney Tunes.
Yeah, well, you can, carjack a jet, so...
Yeah, I mean... this just looks perfect for, just being silly and
it's good mindless fun, and you need that from video games sometimes. They can't always be these serious, deathly whatever affairs. You got to have a little brevity and some lightheartedness in your gaming at times, and this game certainly provides it.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how many people played it the way I played it, which was barely did any of the missions, just got to a big area and just ran
crazy
around.
Yeah. Well, it looks like this game is going to provide ample opportunities to do just that with the crazy new grapple hook stuff that you've got, and it looks awesome.
You can crash a plane.
At least for our 10 hours, it looks awesome. Because that was I think we said this on the show before when they put out a trailer for this, was that it does kind of have a shelf life. Around 10 hours with this game, I started to lose interest a little bit. I did enjoy kind of going back and just messing around for an hour here or there, but I don't think I ever finished the game.
Well, I think the beauty of this one, and the thing I liked about 2, was that people modded it. Because again, I bought it on the Steam sale on the PC, and this is where, if you have a console, you do miss out. But you look at some of the mods for this, they were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And again,
looking at what they're doing with Grand Theft Auto 5 right now, I mean, literally, some of these mods are pretty mind-blowing. So wait till they get their hands on the tools in Just Cause 3. I mean,
it's going to be biblical.
One of the mods for Grand Theft Auto 5 actually was a Just Cause grappling hook. It didn't obviously work as well because it's kind of rigged together.
Yeah.
But they could latch onto a cop and then wing the cop all the way across the level or whatever. It's pretty cool.
I hope. Oh, by the way, Fallout 4. I hope that's moddable.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Oh, that would be so special.
Yeah. Imagine how good that thing is going to look under the tutelage of modders. In 2
oh
years
yes. So anyway, let's go. Let's get back to Rise of the Tomb Raider.
The new trailer this week. Did you see it?
I'm kind of
You're about to see it because Matt's going to run.
I went into a coma.
This is actually the old trailer, but
around 7 a.m. Pacific on Tuesday morning, I went into this fugue state where that's all I could think about was Fallout 4.
Yeah,
but I got nothing but love for the Tomb Raider reboot. I thought they executed it very well. Lara Croft was a much more fleshed out character. No pun intended. I mean, we all remember how she got IDOSed, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. But this one is this looks really good. Again, more of the same with a couple of changes. Long enough break between the games that gets me want to go back and spend some time with Miss Croft.
It'll be interesting to see if they do a lot more with the whole crafting mechanic, because I felt that was kind of an underused part of the game. I didn't feel like I really needed to craft stuff all that much. I was collecting all this stuff, but it never seemed essential for me to complete the game. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a bigger element in this.
Well, I think this time around, she is more experienced. I mean, this was, the first one was her introduction really to becoming this adventurer, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle the story. Is Rhianna Pratchett writing?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
So yes, so it'll be interesting. I mean, again, I'm looking forward to this.
One thing I liked about the last game was how she started out as this fresh noob, for lack of a better word, and she kind of grew and evolved throughout the course of the game. But now that she has become Lara Croft, where does that evolution go? Is the character going to be just this kind of one-note thing throughout the whole game? Or?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, the first time around, as you said, she was a noob. This time she's still going to be somewhat of a noob, more experienced. But,
This is the new trailer here, by the way.
This is going to give you the chance give Square Enix the chance to really look at throwing more things at her. and seeing how she evolves that way. I mean, do we want her to evolve into this uber, unflappable Ripley-esque character? No. And that's the beauty of the Tomb Raider games. If the way they're handling them now, if they handle them properly, it's going to be a great journey, and it's going to be fun to be part of that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for this game. This trailer, I don't feel like it did much. Although it's better than a lot of trailers that we get. I mean, it is kind of past the teaser stage at this point, this game.
Well, she looks like she's raiding a tomb.
Yeah.
That's what we would like in the next one. More actual tomb raiding.
I actually wouldn't mind some more real platforming in the game as well, because I felt like that was one element from the old Tomb Raider games that the reboot kind of lost.
Well, again, I think
everything felt like it was kind of on autopilot a lot of times.
Yeah, platforming puzzle. I mean, look.
And the puzzles too. You're right. Like there weren't hardly any puzzles in the last.
There were only a few. But Nolan in the chat room says she grew and evolved into a mass murderer, which is true. I mean, there was that. Going from not wanting to shoot anything even to get food to survive to I kill you, I kill you, I kill you. But let's face
that's pretty much every video game now. I mean,
maybe the first one is the toughest. Once the first one is the toughest, and once that's done, apparently you can go. So, yes. Pray I never kill anybody.
Well, I mean, it's not like Tomb Raider was ever a stealth game where you went around and incapacitated people. No. I mean, the original Tomb Raiders, most of the combat was against animals.
Yeah.
I mean, so you probably didn't feel as bad about it, but it is true. I mean, if you look back on the last Tomb Raider, she does turn into a mass murderer, but I also feel like they justify it because the people that she's interacting with in that game are such scumbags. Remember that very first demo they showed where the guy was trying to rape her? Remember that?
I mean, was he trying to rape her? Was he being wildly inappropriate? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yes, that was an interesting. When you look at it in the context of the game, yeah. I mean, let's face it, some men act like that, and generally, if you're a mercenary or you're in the employ of somebody who's a douchebag, you're generally going to be a douchebag too and do douchebaggy things. So yeah, I mean,
I didn't feel bad about the killing in that game at all. I never thought about it. I was like, I can't believe I'm killing all these people. I'm like, these people are jerks. They deserve to die.
Yeah. You don't expect Tomb Raider 2 to start with one of those little Facebook posts my dad went off to work for somebody on an island and I never heard from him again. I mean, it's not going to be that sort of thing. Let's face it. If you deserve it if you're a bad guy in Tomb Raider.
Overall, though, I think Square Enix has a pretty impressive lineup for E3.
They have a little bit, I think, for everybody. I think they're hardcore Japanese game fans will be quite happy.
And we haven't even talked about all their handheld stuff that they're doing. And
was it Hitman Sniper that came out today on the mobile systems?
Mobile, yeah.
They do seem to do well on the mobile, but Square Enix.
They've turned it around.
They have balance this year, and they've had balance the last couple of years, and the IDOS acquisition has really done well.
Paid big dividends. Yeah.
All right, so Marcus, here's a topic that's near and dear to your heart, I'm sure. So this week, it seems like every week we talk about Valve at least once, and sometimes twice. But this, they make news every week, and it's always big news because people are
Gabe likes to hear his name uttered on GameFace.
That could be.
It's true. I mean, he's a big fan.
Yeah, but I think what it is that people are so passionate about their service, Steam. Anytime Valve makes a decision, it's like a huge deal. And there are editorials written about it, and there are podcasts that talk about it. And
they are PC games.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're the Xbox Live of PC. And so
they got into the games space in a way that Games for Windows wanted to, but never managed to.
Yeah. And I think Microsoft said today that Windows 10 will not be a replication of Games for Windows.
No. Games for Windows, boom.
Yeah. So the story, I haven't even got to the story yet. The story is that now Valve will allow people who purchase games to get a refund for the game. And basically how it works is once you buy the game, you have 14 days to return it.
Yep.
And you can only return it if you've played it for 2 hours or less. So on the surface, that sounds great. And by all accounts so far, everyone's saying it literally takes 1 minute for you to request your refund before you get that money sent back to you from Valve. And so the question has become, though, is that
with the advent of all these indie games that are really short experiences and generally you don't pay a ton of money for, a lot of these games don't last more than a couple hours. So people are kind of up in arms. They're saying, well, look, if you're the developer of one of these small games like a Gone Home or a Dear Esther or something that is kind of like a quirky game that just has a twist, or maybe the narrative's really strong to get you through those 2 hours, you know, a lot of people are saying that it kind of pushes those developers and those games out of the market. Because if you can finish the game in 2 hours, you're going to get the game, you're going to play the game, you're going to finish the game, and then you're going to go to Valve and say, I didn't like this, I want to return it, and then get your money back. And then I don't know how those finances trickle down to the developer, if the developer has to refund all the money. I don't know how that works. They haven't really talked about it yet. But
it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'd actually, you know, I know Valve have put this 2 hour limit in, but I'd be interested to really go into the fine print, because obviously Steam achievements are tied in.
Yeah.
To a
so
game.
What happens if you get achievements and then you return the game? Do they take those achievements away?
Well, no, I would actually say, I mean, if somebody buys a 2 hour game for $9.99 and they play it through and they complete the game and then demand a refund, I think, you know, Valve would look at this like, you've completed the fucking game.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I think that
that's a good point. They could use that as a system of checks and balances. Maybe they say, well, if you have more than 50, if you attain more than 50% of the achievements in a game, then you can't return it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to the movies. Let's face it, if you walk out of a movie in the first 10, 15 minutes, you're pretty much going to get your money back, because if you really don't like the movie. But if you go all the way through a fucking movie and then come out and say, I don't like it, I want my money back, they're going to laugh at you.
Will they really give your money back for movies if you don't like them?
Well, if you walk out, like I said, within 10, 15 minutes, the last time I did it was it Dumb and Dumber, the prequel?
Oh.
Yeah, we walked out of that one and got money back, which is fantastic.
The only movie I've ever walked out on, I'm embarrassed to say I walked out on it now because I think it's freaking hilarious, and it was Tommy Boy. I don't know why. I went to that movie, and I sat down, and I don't know if I was in a bad mood or whatever, but I started watching that movie, and I thought it was the worst movie I had ever seen.
Yeah, but you know,
and then later on, I watched it, and I think it's freaking hilarious.
But when you watch it at home, you're a little more relaxed. Maybe you had a little drink or something.
I walked out of that movie, and I'm sure there's probably people watching the stream right now or watching the show. They're like, "Dude, Tommy Boy is like one of the best comedies he ever did," and they're right. But for whatever reason, that night, it just
you were not feeling your folly.
I was not feeling the Tommy. That's for sure.
So, you know, and look, let's look at the other side of it. And I will be totally honest with you here. I paid for Thomas, Gone Home?
Yeah. How did you feel about that after you finished it?
Oh, wait, I tell you what, I wish the fucking Steam
there was a
refund
return.
had been in effect then. And look, I defended the developer's right to make a game like Gone Home.
Yeah.
But it was one of those ones that I listened to perhaps a couple of people who I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an interesting game. I got no issues with it, but it's not for me.
I also wonder too if they'll let people who return the game, if they'll keep their reviews up on Steam for that game, or if they'll take them down.
Again, that's why I think this whole 2 hour thing might be a bit interesting. And
I mean, even if there's some
does it apply only to full price games? How does it work with the Steam sales? Are all sales final on a Steam sale?
Yeah.
Does it work with the indie section? Are they going to redo the store? That there is, you know, the indie section is perhaps annexed off. Steam Greenlight. How does that come into it? I think. The
crazy part is you can even take a game like Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which, you know, people try to squeeze as much time out of that game as they can, but truth be told, within a couple hours, you pretty much get everything out of that. I don't even want to call it a game, that demo that you can get. And so it isn't really just about games like Dear Esther and Gone Home. There's also other games that you can get a lot out of in that short amount of time. And
I think this is kind of a retread of the paying for mods issue. I think, you know, some of the best intentions are behind it, but I think it's flawed, and I think they're going to need to go through a rethink, and they're going to have to fine tune it. It'll be interesting to get into the nitty gritty. It really will.
Yeah.
Okay, E3 preview number 3624. EA Sports.
It's not just EA
Games
Sports.
And EA Mobile and EA. It's in the game. So, right, EA E3 preview. They have their press conference this year, haven't they?
Yeah. On Monday at like 1 o'clock Pacific, around there. Marcus, I got to tell you, I think you're absolutely insane by doing that, because as of right now, in my opinion, EA may have the best lineup of games at E3.
Dude, look, I've said my piece on the press conferences on a Monday. They should be first party only, and then we should crack into the show first thing Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Because let's face it, EA, Activision, and Ubisoft having their press conferences on the Monday knocks Nintendo into the Tuesday. We don't get into the convention center until noon, and it's not so much of an issue for us this year because we're not really doing hyper. But you know what it was like 2 years ago when you were at game trailers, and how much stuff you have to try and get done.
Yeah.
And this is a trade show. It's not a fucking boondoggle. More of that in a minute.
In some ways, though, it's good, Marcus, because you get to go to these press conferences before the actual show floor opens.
Oh, let's face it.
And so you can get a lot of media up for this stuff when you're not burdened with, like, oh my God, there's 5 camera crews on the floor right now, and a camera's broke, and our talent, they can't find the talent. Like, once the show starts, it's just mayhem. I mean, it is unadulterated mayhem. When you're working in a place like Game Trailers or IGN or GameSpot, and it doesn't stop. Like, I would sleep like 3 hours a night.
I've done both sides of it.
So it's good in some ways to be able to get, like, especially the big stuff, because most of those press conferences have the huge stuff, and then you end up going to the show and kind of filling in the blanks here and there. Maybe you get a couple big pieces of media out of the show proper, but, I mean, speaking from the perspective of working at, like, a mega site, the press conferences help. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I think they can release the media, and then you can follow up.
Yeah.
Because you can get more out of a booth visit than you can out of a press conference. But anyway,
let's get back to EA, because we have a ton of stuff to talk about with EA. I mean, their lineup is freaking huge, and I'll just run through it really quickly right now. There's Battlefront, Mass Effect 4, the Visceral Star Wars game, Need for Speed, Mirror's Edge 2, all their sports games, maybe Battlefield 5, maybe Titanfall 2. That's a pretty good E3 lineup. And then, there'll be like probably a new Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 or something like that, which the original I thought was great. I was really surprised by that game. I'm
sorry, there's one glaring omission from here. In fact, 2.
Yes.
Need for Speed and Desert Strike.
What? Need for Speed's on there.
Not Need for Speed. Road Rash.
Oh.
Road Rash and Desert Strike.
We just went through this.
Road Rash and Desert Strike. Want them back. God damn it.
Neither one is going to happen.
Neither one is ever going to happen, but thankfully I have them on the Genesis. But yeah, Star Wars Battlefront, we've talked about it. It's on my list. Hopefully.
Matt was saying before the show that he heard that it may be 4-on-4. Have you heard that?
Well, what's their
Matt,
maximum? Is it 32?
I don't remember. That's just something I read.
They might have a 4-on-4 option, but I mean
that would be insane if it was 4-on-4.
Yeah, I mean, look, to have that option, the smaller option, there's nothing wrong with that. You got
no, if it's an option, but I'm saying if it's the max number, that would be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to recreate the fun of the original, is it? Where you wanted bigger numbers, you want to be part of that pitch battle, but. Obviously,
they've already said 40-player max online, so I don't know how that 4-on-4 would work. But
I'm guessing they got bots in there or something.
Yeah.
But look, let's face it, the standout for me is obviously Mass Effect 4.
Yeah.
Again.
So there's rumors rumbling right now that BioWare's other game has been canceled. That they have this. So last year at E3, they did kind of a dual video, and the first part of the video concentrated on the next Mass Effect, which Mass Effect 4 we're assuming. It could have some other title. And then they showed this other game that their other studio was working on, and apparently that other game has been canceled. So the chance of seeing that one at E3 this year is...
EA cancelling games from studios like BioWare? No. I suppose we should be thankful that BioWare still exists, to be honest with you, after what they did to Westwood.
But it's pretty much a done deal that Mass Effect is going to be there. I mean, they showed it at last year's E3. At the very least, we're going to get like a kick-ass trailer from the game.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I can't see Mass Effect hitting before, next spring.
I didn't think Fallout was going to be hitting this year, and now here it is.
We still haven't had any confirmation on that, but
it has been a lot longer since the last Fallout versus the last Mass Effect. Although it's still been a little while.
I hope this is a proper BioWare Mass Effect and hasn't been toned down. I mean, I am greatly heartened by how much fun Dragon Age Inquisition was.
That is heartening because they have the exodus of the doctors out of there, and to me that was a big worry because you never know how much people like that are having an impact on the overall picture of a game.
Yeah.
Because look, they had ascended to a point where they weren't the ones crunching anymore, and they weren't the ones who were staying there until 5 a.m. every night and sleeping 3 hours and coming back at 9 a.m. But you don't know how much pixie dust they're sprinkling on those games.
You don't know. I mean, I've worked at public developers where I have seen the big bosses there until 3 a.m. on a crunch with people because they're constantly evaluating.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly how it went on, but the
fact of the matter is they're gone, and so there's some concern, or there was some concern. I think you're right, though. I think Dragon Age Inquisition,
I thought Dragon Age did very, very well.
Really kind of satiated those fears.
Yeah, if they can replicate that into Mass Effect universe and do the previous games justice. I've got no problems with that at all, and I will look forward to it immensely. Star Wars from Visceral, that's an interesting bag of hammers, isn't it?
It is. Amy Hennig from old Naughty Dog is working there now on the story for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know anything. There's been no screenshots, no leaks, no information, no developers tweeting or putting anything on social media. It is just radio silence.
I think we're just going to see a trailer, and it'll be interesting to see if this is actually perhaps more tied into one of the standalone movies.
Yeah.
There was was it Star Wars 1313? Mm-hmm. That was obviously shit canned when LucasArts went bye-bye. But it'll be interesting to see if perhaps this takes some of that on board. Yeah, I'll be interested because look, Visceral obviously have a reputation from Dead Space 1, 2, and 3, but Dead Space 3 obviously, I had a personal issue with Dead Space 3.
I think a lot of people did.
Well, I mean, just the whole...
I don't think anyone liked it as much as the first one or the second one.
Yeah, the microtransactions, the drop-in, drop-out co-op, I mean, where it felt like it was just a
It just completely got away. It was just Dead Space in name. It wasn't Dead Space in game.
I just... nicely said.
Yeah.
I just hope that we're not looking at Dead Space with a Star Wars slap on it, Star Wars skin.
I mean, look, I fully expect this to be Uncharted Star Wars. I mean, I think it's going to be this highly curated, highly focused... Single player, play through the story, emotional heartstring tugs here and there.
If that's the case, I hope it's somewhere set in Han Solo's sort of like pre-Star Wars time.
Yeah.
That for me would be cool because you've got that element of, let's face it, Nathan Drake is a Han Solo knockoff.
Yeah, for sure.
With all
a lot of
in
action
the best possible way.
I mean, he's not the only one.
They're all
Han Solo created that archetype, basically.
Well, I think that charming rogue. You can go all the way back to Bogart.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
So I mean, they're all iterations on a theme, and there's no disrespect meant to the Uncharted franchise. But yeah, I mean that would be interesting. Whether it's Boba Fett, whether it's tapped into Rogue One or something. So we'll see.
I'm excited for that though.
I'm curious.
Because Battlefront is like, you know what you're getting. It's like a multiplayer Star Wars, which is going to be awesome, but you know what you're getting. We played Battlefront before, but this is a pretty skilled team with a great writer, with a great track record, creating an action adventure based on Star Wars. And how long has it been since we had a good action adventure, not an RPG based on Star Wars?
Oh, look, I mean, if you want to go, those of you with a short memory, let's go back to the original Xbox, and Star Wars Obi-Wan. How about that? That was really bad. Star Wars Obi-Wank, as I like to call it. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. But again, Battlefront is tempering. I mean, there was a Star Wars action adventure last gen, but it used like that kind of like side character. It wasn't really... What would be really cool if they came out with Mass Effect 4 and said, and after Mass Effect 4,
we're making Star Wars,
are doing a Star Wars game.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean some of the developers have went on record the last few months saying we would be into that.
You put maybe one of the BioWare teams is working on a Star Wars RPG-esque.
Let me ask you this: if you had the choice, would you rather have Mass Effect 4 or a BioWare Star Wars game?
Honestly, if I had the choice, I would have Knights of the Old Republic 3.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would say that.
KOTOR 3, KOTOR
I would agree
1
with
and
that
2.
as well. I would rather have a Star Wars RPG than a Mass Effect RPG.
Well, I mean, look, and the only reason why I love Mass Effect a hell of a lot, but it does feel like the story's told.
It does. Well, I mean, it was a trilogy, and it is kind of told already.
Yeah. So I think the chance of having KOTOR 3, because let's face it, the Old Republic, the actual game that was the MMO, wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It's just it was stuck within that $14.99 a month subscription. Then when it went to free play, it went a little. So yeah, if they come out and say BioWare are bringing you KOTOR 3, you will. I mean, that following on from Fallout and XCOM and.
Fan overload.
I think I might just die.
Need for Speed, I think we know we're going to get there. Probably a couple tweaks to the formula, no big deal. Mirror's Edge 2 is coming out first month or two of next year, so we should see like a huge demo of that.
We will.
Like a huge demo.
And if it doesn't make me motion sick, that's a good sign.
Yeah. And all the sports stuff, we know we're getting there. Madden, FIFA, NHL, and Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. Battlefield 5, I mean, they should maybe show that for the first time. Maybe a trailer. I doubt there'd be a demo.
Maybe we don't get a Battlefield this year, the Battlefield trailer. Maybe they'll save it for next year because they don't want to take away from the fact they've got Battlefront.
Well, that could be. Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to put out a Battlefield this year.
Because no, but I mean, a Battlefield trailer, there might not be a Battlefield. You know, they might want to say we'll save the Battlefield trailer for the big reveal next year, or maybe early on next year after Battlefront is out, because I think that's where they know that they are potentially going to make a shit ton of money.
You know, everybody who are the early adopters for 4K rigs and 4K monitors are just praying that they show that game, because that's going to be one of the first games that really pushes that technology.
Yeah, I think, no offense to DICE, because they've obviously done some great stuff in the past, but them and cutting edge technology never really works out, does it? And then, of course, this is the big one. Will there be Titanfall 2?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've said that it won't be, and just full disclosure, you and I are both really good friends with somebody who works on Titanfall. And I will say she is very good at not giving up information.
Oh, she doesn't. She's very good at not giving up codes as well.
Yeah.
I had to get mine from Intel.
I can't. She actually did give me a code for the game. But
she's awesome. We love that one.
Yeah, she's great. But she's no help. She's not going to help us on this and tell us what's going to be at E3. They said the game's not going to be there. I still would think we'll see a teaser or something.
We'll basically see something that's
because it's coming out Q2 of next year, so it's not like
confirmed.
Pretty much.
Has it been announced?
Not officially, no.
There you go. Doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, the game is confirmed.
I think we'll basically see a new swanky Titan dropping, and that was it.
Yeah.
I honestly think that they're going to put so much time and effort into Star Wars stuff, and I'm sure that's part of their deal.
They should, though. I mean, that's a smart move. Yeah.
And then, they can basically bounce out of that and have all this new stuff. So I think, if we see anything, it'll be minute. But
here's one thing I would say. EA needs to work on its press conferences, because typically they're really drab and boring. But look, I don't want him to go like all Mr. Caffeine in the other direction either, but
I just want him to go.
You wouldn't get all these awesome Star Wars games if they went away.
Oh, they'd still do the fucking games. We just wouldn't have the press conferences.
Oh, you're just saying the press conferences.
Yeah, it's not EA can go. I mean, look, I stand by what I said last week. I gave EA props.
Titanfall 2, what is one thing you would want for Titanfall 2?
I didn't really enjoy Titanfall 1.
You didn't?
I know, this was the disconnect. It came out when we were working together.
Yeah.
And I got to say, look, while I could appreciate it, it just felt like a Call of Duty meets Battlefield with big fucking robots.
What about all the wall running and all that stuff?
Oh, sorry, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
That's a pretty big deal for a shooter.
But again, I could see, again, why a lot of people enjoyed it and got into it. I didn't really get into it because I was playing, I played on PC a couple of times, but it wasn't my.
I'm a big shooter guy. I mean, I love shooters, and once I find one, it's kind of like my go-to time waster. If I have an hour here or there, I jump on and play it. And I played Titanfall probably like 6 weeks.
Well, what would you want out of it? Single player campaign?
Definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that was the other thing too. Is a game. A lot of times you can rely on a campaign to teach you the nuances of play. And while there was a tutorial in the first Titanfall that kind of said, this is how you do this is how you do this, I didn't feel like I was well prepared enough to go online and play against other people. I felt like when I went in there, I was ill prepared, and maybe everybody else is too. But I got in it like a couple days late, and everybody had already kind of got over the learning curve, and so I got spanked like the first couple days.
So improved matchmaking.
Matchmaking can be improved on every multiplayer shooter ever.
Oh, it can. Don't get me wrong. It's just, again, if I figure that, and I've said this before, that if you're in the business of making multiplayer shooters and you can't do matchmaking that matches level to level or within and make your level differences, all right, so it's 1 to 3, levels 1 to 3 are all lumped in together. But if you make it such a difference at 3 that you're still whomping people at 1, that's a sign of get the fuck out of the business.
But nobody can do it, Marcus. That is one of my biggest complaints with
1v1, 2v2. And then when you get into the later levels, I mean, you really need to handhold people, because let's face it, people are plonking down $60 for a multiplayer experience which doesn't have any single player component whatsoever. So you give them the option to really learn and get comfortable, play within their own level, and then offer the MMO section of, you think you want to play with the big boys? Well, why don't you wander into this fucking PvP zone which is full of level 90s? Give them that option.
Problem, though, is I talked to the Call of Duty developers one time from Treyarch, and they were talking about what the most important thing was to their game's longevity online, and you'll never guess what they said was most important.
Customers who pay for everything.
No. Do you even want to guess, like a legit guess of what it was? It's the time it takes from when you end a match to when the next match starts. And so their conundrum is, okay, so if people aren't getting into matches really quickly, they drop and they subliminally don't think it's a great experience and they stop playing altogether ultimately. So how do you manage that if you're trying to get matchmaking right and you're saying, look, we need to match up all people who are level 1, all people who are level 2, or whatever. The problem is that all those people are in other games. So you're forcing you as a level 2 person to sit there and wait in a lobby for a really long time while all these other level 2 people finish up and can get matched up with you.
Well, you can,
and then there's the whole ping part of it. And
you can tweak it, or you can give it the option. Do you want to, do you want to go a level above? Do you want to go a level below? I mean, well, actually, it should never give you the option to go a level below. But you're level 2. Do you want to play with level 3s because there's no 2s available right now? Be a little more creative in the options. Stop being so rigid in the, we're just going to stick everybody in together roughly around the same. And because, look, getting into a game, and here's the other thing, if you had a single player component, people wouldn't mind so much about perhaps waiting to get into a multiplayer game because they'd have something else to do. Right. Let them tootle around and fiddle with their mech or something. But there is something worse than sitting there waiting to get into a game. It's called getting into a game, getting your ass reamed over and over and over, getting absolutely destroyed, and just throwing the controller down because I'm so out of my fucking league. I'm not touching this game.
That's how they drop people from their game, is because people go in, they get their ass handed to them, they're frustrated like a minute into the round, and they end up like hiding, trying to not to get killed. And then they get booted. The first thing they want to do is play again because they're like, "Oh, that was awful. I need to redeem myself." They want to jump right into a game, and if you can't provide that to them, you're exactly right. They're like, "Screw this!" They throw the controller down. They're like, "I'm done with this game."
Yeah, because I think a lot more people are actually more inclined to walk away from a bad game experience than walk away from a prolonged period before you get into a game.
Yeah.
Because it can build a hype, and then once the game kicks in, you're off and you're running, you're having fun. Yeah. Well, that's just it's just my 2 cents.
But I think they should keep the traversal stuff from Titanfall. I love that, being able to run the walls. It added a new element to the game. I loved the mechs. I think they should keep that, and I'm sure they will. I mean, that is what Titanfall is all about.
Can the mechs transform into cars this time?
Oh, no, now you're talking about Skylanders.
We'll talk about that one later. All right, so EA or Square Enix, who's got the most hype for you? See, that wasn't on the script. I threw a curveball. I'm like one of them baseball players.
I mean, just for sheer volume, I got to say EA. And the fact that Final Fantasy 15 is not going to be there, even though I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan, I still get excited about it. I have to say EA. That's what I'm saying. EA has a killer lineup, man.
They have a pretty good lineup.
I mean, as far as E3s go, that one's pretty solid. So I think they're going to have a good show, and I'm sure they're going to show some stuff that we didn't even expect.
Yeah. So we're going way over time now.
No, I know. But this next topic, you're going to go off the deep end again.
Well,
and that is XCOM 2. We thought it was Advent at first. Everybody thought it was Advent. Everyone?
I'm not going to go off of the deep end of that. I'm happy for it, but I mean, it's it had the misfortune to be announced around the same time as Fallout 4. I mean, you know, it's like
it had its thunder stolen.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I loved the last XCOM.
So did I. We gave it Game of the Year at Game Trailers.
It was a great game. It was they paid lots of homage to the original style of game. They updated it. They'd gone away from that horrible version that that we saw before. Remember the
right. Yeah, that's right.
Version that was like an actiony shootery type thing.
Well, I mean, look, there's still a little bit of that kind of cheese in the game.
A little cheese
with the whole
good.
50s alien thing.
No, a little cheese is good, but when you have so much cheese, you end up with cholesterol poisoning. It's not a bad thing. That's not a good thing. But yeah, look, this it's XCOM 2, and it's PC only. And yay.
For now, like I don't think that's going to hold up.
It'll come to Xbone and PS4 at some point, but yeah.
I would even say like come day and date with the PC version. Like I have a feeling that maybe like one of the console platform holders are going to announce we got a timed exclusive on this.
The Wii U?
No. Definitely not the Wii U. This thing couldn't run on Wii U.
But I like the way they flipped it this time around, where it's not you are, you are the big guys. In the first one, you're the big guys. You had the budget. This time around, you're this mobile little rogue force up against it.
Well, it's a little more ambiguous too, as far as like who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. It almost looks like the aliens are allies in parts of this trailer.
There's a lot going on. I mean, let's face it, the snake thing is really kind of creepy.
Yeah, let's face it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what they've done with this. I mean, we don't know where this is going. We don't know what's going on in a lot
sword.
Of this. Yeah. Ninja.
Oh. It's got a sword.
All right, so yes, XCOM. We'll make this nice, short, and sweet. I'm excited for XCOM 2. Shane, are you excited for XCOM 2?
I'm extremely excited, but kind of if you look at like the show graphics right now, it says the XCOM 2 swindle, and that's because it's not talking about the developers or the publishers. It's not like they led us to believe it was one thing and did another. It's just been crazy to see when they showed it as Advent first, how excited people got because they're like, oh my gosh, it's a new AAA franchise from 2K, maybe Rockstar, who knows, expectations and prognostications were going wild over what it could be. And so it was a little disappointing to find out that game was XCOM 2, I have to say. Like, I am excited for it, and I loved Enemy Unknown, and like I said, we gave it Game of the Year at GT the year it came out. But compared to what I thought it was going to be to what it ended up being, it was kind of disappointing.
Look, let's face it. You're primed in life to be disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
If you go with, sex,
if you ever get excited over
marriage,
anything.
There's so many things. But yes,
you build everything up to be greater in your mind than it really is.
I'm pleased. More XCOM if it's got the charm and the fun of the original, or the original reboot, if you will. So yes, good job. I'm down with it.
There's no way they're releasing that game just for PC. It costs too much to make games. They leave too much money on the table. There's just no way that's happening.
Well, you never know.
I think I know. I think it's going to come to consoles.
For PC, it's on the whole, you make all that money out of digital because box copies for PC don't exist anymore.
Right.
So
no, with Steam, you don't really need.
You pay you pay your Valve cut, but then the rest of it is $60 odd. It'll be interesting to see how they did with the last Civ game.
Yeah.
But I think this.
What, Galactic Civilizations?
Was it Civ 5, Gal Civ, whatever? Galactic, yeah. There's so many Civilization games. But yes, good. More XCOM.
I'm surprised you want to talk about that game more than
I just know I want to get to the next fucking topic. Okay. It's burning a hole. All right?
On the TV screen, it's burning a hole. Yep, so Marcus, at this year's E3, they are going to allow fans into the show, and it's not just anybody. It's 5,000 people that the publishers can invite to the show specifically. So what I'm guessing is it's probably YouTubers who are a part of that publisher's community and they want to get them in there so they can do their YouTube thing. Like, I don't think little Billy, who's a Nintendo fan, can like write Nintendo a letter and say, will you please get me into E3? Like, I don't think it's going to work that way. It sounds to me like you have to have some kind of a rough affiliation with the game or the publisher or whatever. But Marcus, is there room for even 5,000 more people at E3?
Fuck off, no.
Yeah.
No. Keep the fucking public, and no offense to the public who watch this, and no offense to the public who watch games, but this is a trade show. Yeah. This is for the trade. We have PAX East, PAX West, PAX South, PAX Deep South, PAX Australia, PAX the Moon. Gamescom has a press day. Tokyo Game Show has a press day. In fact, if E3 wants to get smart and let the public in, do a fucking media-free day. Do Friday and Saturday as public days.
That's what they should do. That's exactly what they should do. They should leave the show open for 2 more days and just let the public go in.
Because let's face it, there are so many rules on that fucking site for E3. You have to be accredited. You have to be over 21. You have to be this. You have to be that. And then you walk into E3, you see a bunch of fucking kids waddling around because they're cunt punchers of parents are fucking high-ups at Konami or Activision or EA or whatever. Those fucking douchebags shouldn't be there. Because, oh, my daddy's a fucking accountant at EA. I can get it all in and we can go to the Xbox West conference. Fuck off, you little bastard. You're not supposed to be there. Stay the fuck away.
And it does cause problems, yeah.
And this is going to get even worse because I guarantee you that there's going to be a percentage of these people who are coming in who are going to be fucking cosplayers.
Oh,
and there's one thing I hate at E3 more than people who shouldn't be there, is fucking cosplayers. Yeah. This is a professional event. I know I'm looking like I'm cosplaying George R.R. Martin right now, but I'm not. We do not need to go from meeting to meeting running through a bunch of people who haven't bathed in a fucking week because they've been in a car coming from fucking Oklahoma and haven't stopped and basically are now sharing a room with 12 other people who are on the same fucking trip who are basically encased in some sort of spandex or something else, and they're in line blocking the way, stinking the fucking joint up, and they have no fucking right there. Yeah. So no, it's not a good idea. It's fucking stupid. Let us do our jobs. Otherwise, you know what, ESA? Stop taking all the fucking money from the publishers and just do away with E3. Just go and do what the publishers would really like to do, and it's called direct marketing. It's called getting a bunch of, and not all YouTubers are like this, but your evangelists, your motivators, your inspirational specialists who are basically on your fucking payroll to create a bunch of fake advertorial shit that should be prosecuted by the FCC, but the FCC don't know their fucking thumbs from their fucking assholes.
Actually, today the FCC put out new rules for YouTubers that were actually pretty hardcore. Just today that story broke.
Good. I'm hoping most of them end up in fucking jail. Because, and this is the thing, everybody's like, well, dude, I really trust a YouTuber because I can't trust the games media because they mix with the publishers and blah, 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 blah. It's like, you think these YouTubers are doing it just for the love of the fucking game? They make more money than the journalists. Why?
Way more.
Because they don't have the morals or the ethics. Yeah. Because they've never been to journalism school. They basically are getting backhanders left, right, and center to go and promote the game and then say, oh, this is the best game ever. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. Thank you. Here's my paycheck. Look at me. I'm making a buttload of money. And then everybody buys into that, and people think, oh, this is the absolute way that with the future, this is how we need our press to be. That's not fucking press. That's as much press as Twitter is press.
Here's the thing, Marcus. I actually think that the publishers are behind this. I think they went to the ESA and were like, look, like, you aren't letting these people in who are going to come into this show and just go bonkers over our product and then go on YouTube.
We don't fucking need them.
But see,
that's the thing, because they don't provide calm like me, objective coverage. And look, I am not a journalist. He journalist. Me no journalist. Me talking head. 25 odd years games experience, working everything from retail to there was a time when I was a journalist, then PR person, product marketing person, product manager, all those various things in the industry. But he the journalist. He the one with the morals and the scruples and the journalistic ethics. We need more of that. and less of some fucking 15-year-old biscuit with a Vine account.
Yeah.
We do not need that.
The publishers want them in there, Marcus.
And I'm sorry, the publishers should be told, no, the ESA needs to have a backbone. But the
ESA is the one, the publishers are giving them the money.
The ESA doesn't have a backbone because the ESA lets the kids in year after year. And they let fucking celebrities in. How can you tell me, with no offense and no disrespect meant to Snoop Dogg, who is a wild and wacky entertainer, what the fuck's his connection to the video game industry? Yet every year I see him swanning by.
Oh, he actually has done some stuff for games this year.
What?
He did like a soundtrack for one game.
And last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before.
He'll do like songs for games or whatever.
If you're not,
he's very loosely involved.
But if you're not involved with a game that's being promoted and you're a celebrity,
they're going to let the celebrities in there.
He's not even going to go like that. But again,
they're always going to let him in because they want that photo on Yahoo.com and
you know what,
MSN.com and whatever else.
But I mean, the ESA needs to basically buck up its fucking ideas. They need to either get a backbone and say we're enforcing the fucking rules, fuck off, or they need to get smart about it and say we're going to have a week long of E3. We're going to start on the Monday, which would basically put paid to a bunch of the press conferencey stuff. We're going to start Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's going to be press days, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, press days. Press, sales from the retailers, that sort of thing. They're going to come in. We're going to do the business. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the public days. And then bring the public in. Let them play different versions. Because let's face it, the other thing is, a lot of these people who will come in, who will be flown in or will trek halfway across the world or the country to get into this, they're going to get fucking gypped.
Yeah.
Because they will line up to watch a fucking video while a lot of people are struggling to get through because they won't be able to go and play most of the stuff.
5,000 people is a lot of people, man.
Especially
you filter those people around that hall, like it will make a noticeable difference.
Well, numbers are up this year anyway.
Yeah.
There's like an extra 15,000 up again this year. It's just, it's mind-boggling. I mean,
your plan is the right one, though. It's have a couple days for the press. I mean, let's be honest. Thursday at E3, I usually go on Thursday because everybody else is all hungover and don't come. And so I'll go on Tuesday for a little bit, but then I wait till Thursday because you can walk around the hall and you can see everything in 4 or 5 hours. You talk to your PR friends and they're like, yeah, come on in. If you go on Tuesday or Wednesday, everything is booked. It's really hard to get in there.
Wednesday's a fucking half day. Tuesday's a half day.
Right. And so Thursday is kind of dead, and I could see maybe even Thursday being a day for the public, Thursday and Friday, and just give the press the first 2 days or whatever, but letting these people, and it was funny too, I was putting together B-roll for this segment, and there was footage of little kids playing, and it wasn't like they were there and there's some celeb, and he's the son of EA executives or whatever.
I did a night gamer 2 years ago, and what did we do? I gave Megan the
Right there. Perfect example. Who is that kid? What is that kid doing at E3? And this is from E3 2013.
There you go. I think that was actually the footage Megan pulled to put on Annoyed Gamer. So, who is that kid? Where are the parents? And why can't I beat them with a fucking stick?
Yeah. And the other part of it, too, is that, it's kind of disingenuous that they're saying, we're letting the public into E3, because you could always buy your way into E3. Yeah. It has been there for forever. The thing is it's $400 if you want to get in there. But for instance, last year, one of my friends from back home came out here for vacation, and she brought her son along, and her son was 18 or 19. And she messaged me and was like, hey, can you get him into E3? And I was like, it's too late to do that. I can't say he's press or whatever. I can't help you. So she's like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. He just walked up and just paid and went right in.
Yeah. So
if you're a rich kid, you could always get into E3. You don't have to be a part of the press or even a part of the special program. You can do it again this year.
Yeah.
Look, if you're watching this right now and you don't get selected by a publisher to go, you can walk up to E3 and get in if you want to drop 400 or 500 bones. That's a fact. So, again, I think this is all just a strategy because all these publishers want these YouTubers to come into the show because they're just going to gush. because they're going to be so happy. They're going to be like, oh, thank you, Nintendo. You got me an invite to E3. Or thank you, Active, or whoever.
And you're paying for my hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to roll into that show. They're going to walk around with their selfie sticks and their crazy contraptions that they film themselves with. And they're going to walk out of there.
The first time some fucker bangs me on the head with a selfie stick, I'm going to shove it so far up their ass, they're going to take pictures of their intestines.
But that's what's going to happen. They're going to roll in there with all that stuff, and they're going to go to their YouTube channels, who have huge audiences, and they're going to come out and say, everything was awesome. Everything Nintendo did was awesome. Everything Sony did was awesome.
Exactly, because they're fans, they're not journalists. And this is the problem with a lot of the people they let in.
But that's why the publishers
they're fanboys, they're not journalists.
But the publishers hate people like us who tell it like it is. I mean, a lot of people who watch games coverage hate people like us because all they want is someone to tell them that what they already think is right.
They want fucking validation. And they basically want to hear that we agree with them and therefore they are fantastic. And our resumes, 1X Solo or whatever your fucking name is, I'll talk about my resume every fucking week if you want, because you know what? That's what makes the difference with me and him over 90% of the fucking things you'll see on YouTube, because we have the experience. If you don't appreciate that fact and you don't want to hear where it's coming from, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a reason IGN is really popular. IGN assigns editors to a platform, and essentially,
we talked about this last week.
De facto, 2 weeks ago, they become fans of that platform, even if they're really not. To the people who go to the website, they're like, he only covers Nintendo, or he only covers, and he's on the Sony only podcast. He's on the Xbox only podcast. And so the users build up this thing like, he's a fan just like me. He likes Nintendo.
There is no objectivity.
There isn't. Yeah. But people, is what we were just saying. They don't want objectivity. They don't want the truth.
More pandering than Southern China.
Look, there's a lot of people that hate me out there.
Pandas out there.
There's a lot of people that hate me out there. And the reason they hate me is because I'm not a fan of anything. Like, I will give anything shit if it's shit. And there's some people who don't do that. And so when you don't side up with anybody, somebody's always going to be angry with you, because 1 week I'm going to bang on Sony. 1 week I'm going to bang on Microsoft. 1 week I'm going to bang on Nintendo when they deserve it.
And every week I'm going to bang everybody. I'm going to bang on everybody. Sorry.
But what happens is eventually there's the fans of each one of those platforms. All of them get mad because they're like, oh, Shane hates Nintendo. Oh, now next week he hates Sony. Next week he hates Microsoft. So
it's because we're dealing.
So they don't want us at this show. They don't want people who tell the truth or may actually be critical of something. They want these people to roll in who are fans, go in and do their coverage, and in a lot of cases will do way more views than what you and I do or even an IGN does. Well, and spread the good word.
It's the same people who think that the Kardashians are good role models for women.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's the fall of fucking civilization out there, people. I mean, if you don't realize it yet, realize it now. When you look at the TV stations that have the fucking, Real Housewives of My Backyard Toilet, or Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire fifth grader, or whatever the fuck the garbage they put out. Honey Boo Boo, the fucking. Those child molesters, the Duggars? Or one of them is a child molester. But yeah, I mean, this is the shit that they ram down your throat. And it basically means that nobody, everybody wants to be part of the in crowd. Everybody wants they're valid, to be continually validated. And you will find that the older you get, the less you give a shit about validation. And you realize that you maybe wasted 10, 15, 20 years seeking that validation. Be capable of individual thought and only hang with those who could give you that individual thought process. Because let's face it, anybody who's signed up to be Mr. Sony, Mr. Nintendo, or Mr. Microsoft can kiss my ass. All right, we're running well late.
All right, so it's time to move on to our trailer of the week. Now, obviously, we just showed a bunch of awesome trailers. We could have used XCOM. We even could have used like the Uncharted remaster. We could have used Tomb Raider.
But we're going to use Fallout 4.
No, we're not. We could have used that too. But what we are going to use this week is a game that I think isn't getting enough attention, or at least as much attention as it deserves. It is Battleborn, not Bloodborne. It's Battleborn. It's the E3 trailer, the first official E3 trailer, I might add. For some reason, I think they labeled it E3 because they don't want their game to get lost in the shuffle in a couple weeks. It is Battleborn. It is a first-person shooter with MOBA elements in it. Basically, you play in kind of a lane or like a tube. It's a very unique shooter. It's got a great art style. I really want to expose people to this game as much as possible because I think it looks really cool. So here we go. Battleborn E3 trailer. All right, so what did you think of that, Marcus? You asked why you were watching it if it was free to play. What made you think that by watching the trailer?
Because it looks like Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, you just assume everything that looks like that is free to play.
No, it just looks like Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
I mean, graphically, it looks interesting. I kind of like Gearbox. I mean, I love the Borderlands stuff in particular. Who doesn't? But
It's that whole Aliens Colonial Marines thing.
Yes, but that one, look, this whole free to brawler MOBA craze we're going through right now. I mean,
it'll die off.
Yeah, can't people learn from the whole DC Infinite Crisis debacle and the Lord of the Rings before that? I don't know. It just. It was a CGI trailer as well. Wasn't really gameplay footage. So
I think that might be an engine stuff, but
it could
was
be an
obviously
engine, but
they were
it's
moving
not.
the camera around.
Yeah, I'd like to see gameplay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go home and look up, see what it's got. But
big All right, so we have gone way over today, Marcus. Our conversations just really reeled along in episode 13.
If we didn't have to waste time on Square Enix, Steam refunds, EA, and fans getting into
We could have just
E3,
talked about Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 and XCOM 2. That's all we should have talked about today because they are sexy.
Yeah. Well, next week's show, we will be tackling Microsoft and Nintendo, for sure. Those are two big ones. We'll be doing E3 predictions. Marcus, maybe get one question from our users. We can't do a ton of Q&A because we're already so far over time, but we do want to maybe answer one or two. But next week will be our big E3 blowout. We'll also go over how we're going to be covering E3 right here on Sifted. Just as a quick hint, I guess, is the best way to put it. It will be kind of like a hangout. We're going to be hanging out with you guys during the press conferences, in between the press conferences, doing a lot of analysis, bringing in people to talk with us about things. So all day Monday, we'll be here literally live streaming all day. And we'll have the press conferences going through our stream. Marcus and I will be here kind of sitting with you guys, watching the press conferences, doing commentary. answering your questions. And then after each press conference, we'll do our full analysis, more interaction with you guys, move right into the next press conference, rinse and repeat throughout the day.
We talking Sony next week, by the way?
Yep.
Sony?
No, we talked Sony already. Next week it's Microsoft and Nintendo.
That's right, we did. That was last week's episode. Somebody asked.
Yeah, Sony was last week's episode. So head to sifted.net, and episode 12 is up there. You'll be able to find the episode really easily. Any questions, Marcus? Did you
What's
find
in your cup?
Gin.
Liquid meth.
That would be awesome.
Yes. No, it's some sort of...
It's just water.
Yeah. Will we do that on Sunday for Bethesda?
No.
But
Sunday, Marcus and I will be at Bethesda's press conference on Sunday night, and we're coming in early on Monday. I know Marcus really hates this, but
look, I am TBD on that one. Okay,
no, he'll be here.
I live 26 miles away.
The earlier he gets here, the better the traffic will be. Go on Twitter and tell him he needs to be here.
You can tell me all you want, but I got some. Look, I'm going to be kind of shit-faced on Sunday because Sunday's my warm-up day for E3.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've gone to a press conference, but I'm starting at B4, and then I'm going to Bethesda, and there will probably be some libations directly after Bethesda. So we'll see.
You'll be done early.
No.
Yeah, you will.
No.
Anyway.
So he will definitely be here. Matt will definitely be here. I might roll in around just after Microsoft's finishing up.
No, that would be a huge mistake.
Or maybe Shane will just Skype me in or something. I don't know. No. We'll see how it goes.
He'll be here.
It'll be a game time decision.
Anyway, we'll talk about Bethesda basically in the lead up to Microsoft's presser, or after Microsoft's presser if we have some time. If we've talked about Microsoft stuff for long enough, we may be able to talk about Bethesda stuff. But
the other thing is, I never wear pants when I'm watching the press conferences. I just sit on my couch.
They can't tell if you're wearing pants or not.
You know.
But anyway, we'll be able to hang out with you guys all day, and that's really what we wanted to do with E3 is make it less formal and make it fun. And make it less stiff, because it really is a celebration of video games, and we want to celebrate the most awesome day of the year, our Christmas as gamers, with you guys. So look for much more information on that next week. Also, a huge E3 preview blowout next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you next week. GameFace is up and out.
Christmas is my Christmas.